Welcome to PayStubDirect.com overview of making a PayStub. We will have other videos with specific details, but this is going to be just a overview of the PayStub making process and some of my thinking of how I built this site and the reasons why. So let's start making a PayStub from the main page. Let's do with the easy PayStub. While this is loading, I can say to you that accounting, as you know, is a difficult process. So we know that there's a lot of complications going on. I've tried to make this as simple as possible to create a pay stub itself. This is not an accounting program and it is not intended to be as such. There's a lot of added features that I could add to this, and I probably will in some form, but that's why I have divided these into easy and detailed, and then of course I'm going to have an advanced and maybe an even super advanced pay stub for those people that really want to make a specific pay stub. If you want to make it just a quick and dirty one, this is the way to go. We have two things here that I want you to look at. First of all, this is the stub you're going to get, so you can edit the information here. And secondly, there is some hidden information right here that you might have to set that relates to the calculations. Most of these calculations are done for you, so I really implore you to not change these because they are correct, specifically for the state. If you do want to change some specifically, you can just turn the auto calculator off. Here it is. The things you can easily change are, of course, the company name. So type in simply your name, your company ABC, and then your name, address, 123 or whatever you want to set that as. Your name, so my bike, and your check number is going to be whatever you want to set that as, of course. Whatever check number you specifically will be. If you make more than one, you don't want to make these the same. So let's just make that an arbitrary number. It's going to be your social security number. I highly recommend you just put the last four. But if you want to put the full, you just edit in here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you just put the XXX, XXX, XX, and then 1, 2, 4. Whatever you want to put in there. These pay periods here, this is where there is a little bit of confusion, and I have thought of many different ways of doing this automatically, and of course I might even change this later on just to make it more intuitive. What I have done is I wanted to make it clear to you that all you have to do is change the pay date. Do not change these pay periods because that does get confusing. So we can click on here and you can select which date you want to get paid on. So let's say most people get paid on Friday. So we can put that, let's say you wanted to get paid on this past Friday here, 22nd. It automatically changes these dates the day before and then backwards to 7 days prior. And you can kind of confirm that is 22nd, and then here you are 21 to 15. Realistically, it depends on how the accounting system at any place does. It's always different. Every place is different. I can't make it the same for anyone else. So if you want to say you want to get paid from Monday through Friday, well, technically you're actually paid that Saturday, Sunday to the Friday, and you actually get paid on that Saturday. Then set that, it will change this in a second here from the 22nd to the 16th. Confirm that. This is when the check is printed. It might not be when the check is sent out to you or whatever. So this is just simply an accounting thing, and it's really not a big deal as far as getting hung up on. What you want to realize is though that I did say it's the final day is on the 23rd, and it does correlate to the 22nd to the 16th. So 16th, 22nd, and the next cycle will start again on the 23rd to the 29th. So really, to make this simpler, just change this date and let the automation do everything else. The 16 employee number is also arbitrarily. A small company will have maybe 5 or 6. Some people will have larger numbers, so you can put in whatever you want to do, 24 or employee number 3, whatever you want to do. Just put some arbitrary number in there again. This right here is the earnings. So this is your rate. How much did you make? Did you make 23 an hour or 9 an hour? And you can see it changes after you tab out of it. That's just a website design thing. I can make it much more complicated by when you put the click on there, but just simply realize when you change the number, it doesn't change until you click somewhere else or you tab out of it. This is how many hours, typically 40 hours per week. You can change that. I don't recommend changing the total. This is what the calculation is done for. Secondly, all these are calculated. So this is what you, for FICA, Medicare, you paid at this rate, you had to pay $4, $17 federal and state uh, representative. These numbers here are calculated. It's the year-to-date total. And you wonder, well, where does this come from? It starts 4 times divided by 16 is actually 4. So this is thinking that you are using 4 pay periods. And the sharp ones of you might think, well, I didn't work 4 pay periods. There's only, let's say, 3 weeks here in the month of January. That is true. But the way the accounting system is set up is it starts on whatever date it's based on this date. So if you are starting here, you actually had a pay period here in last year. And really, it doesn't matter where and where you get paid. If you were working since sometime in 2015 or earlier, you work every week. So you have to arbitrarily choose a date to cut off the 2015 to 2016. 2015 is a strange year, has extra days, so it actually has 53 weeks. So accounting practices have turned it so where some places where they just call 2015 53 weeks, or they call 2016 an extra week here. It really is irrelevant, but if that does bother you, you can change this and go here and change this to how many weeks you think is in this year. If you don't, right now it's 4, if you think it's 3, when I click 3, it'll change this to 3 multiplier. So this is what you can change that to. I highly recommend you don't use that if you've been if you were hired in 2015 and you want past paychecks. Do not use that. That's not it will confuse you. But if you know what I'm talking about, then you can change this. If you are hired in 2016, well, I have to know when you were hired. And I'm thinking about changing this to just you put in the date of when you were hired and let the computer figure it out. But some people have asked for this to make the math a little easier. So I have a pay date of 23rd. Let's say this is my first week of working. I want to have only one I've been working here only 1 week, 1 pay period. You can technically only then have 1 pay stub. If you have more than 2, it'll confuse the system. So this number always has to be less than this, or this number has to be greater than this, whichever way you want to say it. But I wrote it down here. If selected, must be greater than number of pay stubs, which is right here. This is the number of pay stubs. So continuing on, this way the computer will know to set this up properly. As you can see here, you have only 1 pay stub, and you've been working there only 1 week. So this works out. You've been paid $280. These are your deductions, subtract, and there's your net pay. If you ask for 2 pay stubs, it doesn't make any sense, because how can you have 2 pay stubs if you have only been working there 1 week? So it will confuse it. So I highly recommend you put in 2, or technically you can put in 3. This can be higher, but this can't be lower. So you need to change this around so that it makes sense. So now, if I want to see, I have 2 pay stubs. There's number 2, and here's actually the number 1 doesn't say. And these are the dates. So this pay period is from 16 to 22nd. This one is from 9 to 15. It actually makes sense. It's the one prior. And of course, you get paid the day after that. And check number. So this is 2324. It's before. So make this number less than that. So it's 20 something like this. It's less than this check number for a big company. If you want to view this, this is now just a preview of the stub you're going to get. This is our first and our second stub. Notice this is our 3rd week of being employed. So that's 3 times. This is our 2nd week of being employed. And since you didn't ask for 1, it doesn't show. But if it did, it would be a 4 and a 4 here as well. And the totals total fine, because that's what you made each month minus deductions. But your year-to-date changes, as you can see. So I see most people do get kind of screwed up on that stub information. By the way, you can't change it here. You need to go back to the previous page and change it there, and then refresh it. So you can also, I give the option to preview the PDF, so you can actually click on it, and it will generate what you will actually get. So you are buying exactly, you know what you're going to get. This is what it's going to look like. If you want to print this out, it's going to look exactly like that. And so we close that and we go back to where we are here. If you like it, then you go to the checkout. Click here, and then this is where you do your payment system. So for that, you can choose whichever you want. If you want unlimited access, which I highly recommend, that's the one where you can go back, change it. If you make more than 4 pay stubs, unlimited makes more sense, especially with the mistakes or rewrites or people put in the wrong names or wrong amounts, or they have to add things. It just makes more sense. I'm not trying to sell that more. Of course, it makes more money that way, but I highly recommend it. It's just from past experience. Okay, and then you can continue on and pay. So what we're not going to do right now. Oh, dang it. So it's not going to let me go back exactly. So you thought we refresh the information. So that's the full preview on how to make a pay stub. We'll have some more how-tos and of course the pricing is that we just saw. Thank you and enjoy your making your stubs.